Install the charger for an electric car. I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. Okay, before we start, we're going to see this. That you have three types of chargers, so you can have one charger just for one EV. As you can see, you can have the dual in case if you have two cars, or if you want to put like a gas station or electric station, so you can buy this commercial EV charging station. So basically you can buy those. So basically here we're going to see the basic ones. So if you want to buy, for instance, 50 amp charger, 220, most of them are 220 if you want, to charge fast. And then you have, for instance, 40 amps, and then you have different amount of amps. So the higher the amperage, usually it should be the fastest charger that you can get. So as you can see here, you have a different pricing. So for instance, the cheapest one, it will be 110. You don't need any special capability. So at least here in US, most houses, they have 110, so you can plug it in anywhere. But the thing is, it's not going to be very fast. So if you want to get something, for instance, in this case, for this customer, we install one of 50 amps or 60 amps. I think it was this one, 48 amps. So this is what he got. So this is what I'm going to show you, how to take it apart, replace the power cord, so that way you can connect it directly, so that way you don't have to use the outlet that you see here, or the electric outlet with the plug and everything. So you can hardwire it directly to the electric panel. That will be your best bet. Otherwise, you can do whatever works best for you. In this case, it's going to be hardwired to the electric panel. That is what the customer asked me. So basically, I'm going to show you here. So this is what the customer bought. Like I mentioned before, you can control it with your phone. So if you want to charge it fast, slow, or whatever. So here I was in a picture, so that way you can see how is the device inside. I assume that the other ones are going to be kind of similar. So as you can see here, all right, so here, as you can see, we're going to see the connector, the charger inside. So that way you can do your own connection. So basically, when you open this up, you're going to have two connectors. One in one side is going to be the one that goes to the car, and the other is the one that goes to the electric panel. Let's assume this is the one that goes to the electric panel, because I don't know what you have. But you're going to have the live, the hot one, the neutral, and then you're going to have the green one is the ground. So when you buy the wire, you're going to have the three wires that I'm going to show you now, so that way you know which one to buy. So let's say here, for instance, when you have to buy the cable, you can get this one. For instance, I'm using a 6 gauge and /3. So that means it has 4 wires. It has one is 2 lives, 1 neutral, and 1 ground. But if you want to buy just the 2, if you can get the cable that is only, the wire that is only for 2, you're going to buy 6/2. It will be hot, neutral, and ground, and that's it. So that will be cheaper. But at least in this case, if you want to buy, I don't know how far you have the charger from the electric panel, but if you have to buy 125 feet, in this case, that would be a lot of wire. So it's like $500, almost $600. But I think for this case, I had to buy like 7 foot. It was pretty inexpensive. So it would be maybe $80 or something like that. So it wasn't that much. So here you can choose whatever. So if you want to buy Home Depot or any other place, but at least you know what you're going to face when you buy something like that. So that is what you need. Also, if you don't know which one to buy, or maybe you are in another country, let's say that you are outside of the United States, and because outside of the United States, they don't use gauges like here. For instance, if you see here, it says 6. 6 is the gauge, so it would be the thickness of the cable. So if you are maybe in another country, you can go here on Google and you can type a wire gauge conversion. And for instance, here I have it 6 gauge. It will be 4.1 millimeters. So that is the thickness of the cable. Easy peasy. So that is what you have to buy. And if you're in outside of the United States, usually the electric panels are inferior, or they have other technology like Europe or maybe Latin America. I like the most the ones that are made in US. They're easy to be used. So here, for instance, this is an electric panel. I'm going to show you just the basic one. So when you when you go and install the electric panel, you're going to have these. These are the breakers. So as you can see here, the first three that you see on the top, they are one pole. And if you want to the double pole that you see here, these are for 220. And when you see one pole, usually is 110. Sometimes you have one pole by double side like this. It will be 220, but I don't want to confuse it too much. So basically, if you see one pole is 110, and if it's thick like this, and you see the two poles is 220. Very easy. So when you open this up, you're going to see the electric panel like that. So the one that you see here on the top is the main breaker. So that is how you can turn off everything. So let's see if I can zoom in. There we go. That will be the main breaker if you want to turn everything off, just in case. And everything that you see here, this plate that you see here and here, those are the two live ones or hot ones. So don't touch them, or otherwise you're going to get electrocuted. And here on the side, you're going to have the neutral. It could be the neutral and the ground, or it depends. If it is sub-panel, you're going to have the neutrals in one end and the ground in the other end. Otherwise, it will be, if you have the main panel like most people, you are going to have this is bonded, the neutral and the ground one. So it doesn't matter if you put it in one end on the other, it will be all the same. So now let's start with the other stuff that you're going to need. So if you don't know which one what type of a breaker you can buy, usually you can type on Google and it will tell you. For instance, here, if you type 60 amps wire size, it will tell you to run 60 amps wire. You need 50 to 60 feet from the panel. If you don't know what wire size you want to use, you can Google it. As you can see here, for instance, it says can say 6 gauge wire handle 60 amps. It says for 60 amps, 6 wire is the right length. And you can use RHW or THHN type insulation. Wire of H gauge is only good for 50 amps. And it depends of the length of the cable, but in this case we're using 7 feet is more than adequate. Otherwise, you can find a chart that it will tell you, depending on the length, is the type of cable that you're going to use. If you can use 100% copper, that is the best way. Otherwise, the dimensions, the thickness of the cable, it may vary. So basically, that is what you're going to need in order to make it work, to connect everything. So this is very easy. And I want to show you something else. So in this case, I want to show you how to connect the wires. So basically, when you have the electric panel here, I'm going to try to change here. So like I said before, you have to make sure that you buy the breakers that is going to fit with the electric panel. So if you have a GE, you have to buy GE. If you have Eaton, you have to buy Eaton. If you have something else, buy something else. Make sure that it's going to be compatible with your electric panel. If you don't know, you can take one of the breakers out and then take it to Home Depot, Lowe's, or your hardware store and say, hey, give me the same thing, but in 60 amps, and that should be the easiest way. So basically, when you have the breaker like this, for instance, here we have on the side, we are using a square D. So here you are going to have the live that goes here, and the other live that goes here, and the other one is going to go to the side, like I said, is the ground one. So in this case, we are using 2 lives on the ground, and that is all you need. Basically, it's very easy to hook them up. Now I'm going to try to show you the breaker closely, so that way you can see how it is. So as you can see, this is the breaker. So for instance, in this case is square D. But if you have another brand, make sure that is the same brand. So if you go here on the other side, here that you see, this thing that you see on the top, this is the one that goes in the middle that I told you that you have the two lives. And here on the bottom, you have the hook that goes to the other side. So make sure, because if you don't put the right thing, you're going to have issues that it's not going to fit in the electric panel and you're not going to make it work. So I don't try to force it because you're going to break it. So let's see if we can do the 360 degrees. So the way you can see, as you can see here, on the side, you have this hook that you see here. This is goes to one end of the breaker. And the other one that you see here is the one that goes in the middle, like I told you before. So once you do that, you hook it up and you should be ready to go. So now let's start with the practice so that way you know how you can do it. Okay, now we are going to start with the practice. So that way now we are putting the bracket on the stud. That will be the best way. Otherwise, if you have drywall, you can use the anchors. And that's it. So here we're going to put one in the middle, one on the bottom, and that's it. Very easy. So now we can see if it fits and if it feels great, because sometimes you may want it to have the charger maybe higher or lower or anything like that. And you have to put the screws on the side of the charger. So here I don't have my cameraman, so it's a little bit difficult, maybe a little to put everything in perspective. But as you can see, here you have two on the bottom and two on the top, and that's it. So once you do that, you should be set, and you don't have to touch it anymore. This is if you want to plug in to an electric outlet. Otherwise, you can just hardwire it inside of that. All right, so now as you can see here, the customer, he agrees with the height, so he likes the way it is right now. So now I'm going to take it all out and I'm going to run the new core. So basically you have to remove just a few screws here and there, and that's it. So now make sure that you don't lose them, otherwise you know, it's going to be difficult to find the other one. So basically, like I said before, is two on the bottom, two on the top, and that's it. So now I'm going to take this apart, so I will have to remove the cable that you see here. So basically you spin it, you turn it to the left to remove the cap that you see, and then we're going to remove all the Allen screws that you see here all around it, so that way we can run the new cable. So it should be easy. Now we go to my toolbox. So I am in US. If you need tools or anything like that, please let me know. All the contacts is in the video description. Otherwise, if you're here, I can try to leave the URL for each device, so that way you can buy yourself. So as you can see, I'm using my impact driver, so that way I can remove them easily. Otherwise, I mean, it comes with a key, with the Allen key, but you're going to spend maybe 20 minutes just to unscrew each one of them. So it will be way easier and faster the way you see it. Just make sure, like I said before, don't lose any of those screws, and that's it. So once you are there, just unplug the cable that you see that goes to the panel, and that's it. So that way you don't have to worry about that. The problem is if you don't unplug the front face of the charger, you're going to damage the cable. So here we are going to use the flat head, so that way I can remove the screws or untie them, so that way I can put the screws, the cables inside. But the thing is, those holes are very tiny. I don't like it, so I have to use my the rigid one. So with this, the rigid one, I can make a fit in the holes, and that is the only one. The other, the walls, they don't have that, so that is the only downside. So make sure you untie them, so that way you can do that, and that's it. So that should be very easy. Now once you do that, we are going to be able to remove the cable that you see here, and that's it. And then we can put the other one and secure it with the bracket that comes in it. So now you just pull, and that's it. Okay. So now we are cutting the wire that you see here, and we have to hook it up here. All right, so now we have to strip just the end of the wire, and that's it. So now we have to put it back in. At least in my case, the wire, it was a little bit slimmer than the other one, at least with this brand of charger, but it will work anyway. Just make sure that you can tie it up as much as possible, so that way you secure the cable that is not going to get loose any moment. So in this case, it got dark already. It was like 5:36, because we are in winter time. Also, the cable is a little bit tougher to maneuver. So if you can have a heater in the garage, heater in your garage, that will help you a lot to make things easier. So now it's a shame that the camera is not aiming to the right spot, but yeah, it's not that difficult to understand. So as you can see here, you have to unhook, lose the bracket that secures the cable, and just plug it in, and that's it. So if you cut too much the sheathing that is protecting around the cable, make sure that you cut the cable maybe a little bit shorter, but make sure that the sheathing is secure in that place. Otherwise, it's going to be more difficult for you, and you may damage the cable. So the idea is that you have an extra layer of protection, so that way you don't have that issue. So now that we have this in place, we have to screw it in. We should be good. So in this case, also I had another issue. I couldn't find at least in 2022, I couldn't find the breaker. I went to a few Home Depots and Lowe's, and they had only the 30 amps. So you can make it work, but if you're using all the maximum amperage of this, it's going to be difficult. As you can see here, you have to put the connector back, make sure, and just clip it in that place, and that's it. Like I was saying before, I had to wait a few days until I was able to find the breaker, or you can order it online. But if you can buy one that is 50 amp or 60 amp, that will be the best option. Here I'm using a wire nut, as you can see here, because here I have 4 cables, 4 wires inside, and you're going to use only 3. So it's neutral, the live, or the hot one, and the ground, and that's it. The other one doesn't go anywhere. But you don't want any piece of cable, touching any other thing. So I put that to be safe, and that's it. So now we have to put all the screws back the way it was before, and that's it. Again, if you have one of these adapters or this Allen thing that you can put in the impact driver, that will make your life a lot easier. Alright, here as you can see, we are going to put the cap back, so that way it will secure the cable, besides having the clamp or the bracket that you saw in the inside. And now we can put it back the way it was, very easy. 2 screws on top, 2 screws on bottom, and that's it. So now you need the Phillips screwdriver, we should be set. So now we're going to do that, and that's it. Alright, now we are going to remove peel off all the plastic. Now we are going to connect everything in the electric panel, so that way you know how it's done. So now we're going to try to hang it on the side. We're going to remove all the plastic, everything that you see here, so that way you can use it. Try to not scratch the handle, and that's it. Leave it there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew the screws that you see here at the bottom of the electric panel, or you can put another connector, a new connector. In this case, it doesn't matter. I mean, both cables are very thick, and once I put them in place, they're going to stay in place when I tie them up. So now I will have to run it through the hole, as you can see here. So now we're going to install the breaker. In this case, couldn't get the 60 amps breaker, so we're going to put the 31. They didn't have it anywhere, so we're going to do that. The customer will not be able to use it at maximum capacity, but he's going to be able to use it until we get the other one, and we can swap it later. When you cut the cable, make sure that you don't scorch the cable too much, so that way you don't damage the copper. Now we have to change the bit. We can The problem with the cold weather is the hands will freeze up and everything is more difficult. Everything is going to be stiff. So this is the garage. All right, this should do the trick. Okay, tight, firm and tight. You don't have to tighten them too much, but you know, good enough so that way you will not produce any arc or anything like that. Here you have a lot of power consumption. Let's try to put this one first. Good and tight. Now we have to put it here. As you can see, it has a hook, so we have to connect like that, and then we do the rest. In another ones is the other way around. It goes like this. Okay. Ya tenemos electricidad. Okay, well, we just turn it on. We have power, so everything should be good. Now we have to tighten the screws back the way it was, and that's it. As you can see, the cable, the wire is tight, so you can pull. It's not going anywhere. That is how it should be. And now we can put the cover back, and that's it. We have to remove the cover. These two that you see over here. All right, as you can see, now we're going to remove the flaps, these things that are on the way, otherwise you're not going to be able to put the faceplate again in the electric panel. So you remove the one that you need, and that's it. So very easy. Now we put it back the way it was. That's it. Hold it with one hand, and you put the screws with the other hand, and that's it. Now you have to put the screws back in. Someone holds the electric panel, the faceplate, makes your life easier. Otherwise, you can do it yourself. Okay, perfect. So here you have the breaker, as you can see. Turn it on and off. That's it. All right, now we're going to put the screws back on the side of the unit and on the bottom as well. And that's it. So once you know that everything is working, you should be good. So now we're going to put some small clamps or staples. I have the staple gun. As you can see, the wall works great, and it will make your life easier to hook everything up. You need the key? You need to hold it for you?
Yeah.
Charging started.
Okay. Charging started. All right, this is a few days later. I was able to get the 50 amps, so that way you can see over there. And everything is up and running. The customer is very happy, and everything is charging very fast. See you in the next class.